good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman Hirono and Ranking Member Senator Lee. I appreciate this opportunity to speak today along with Senator Heinrich, and I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Kenneth Gonzales to be U.S. District Judge for the District of New Mexico. Ken is an exceptional candidate, and I congratulate him and his family on this nomination, especially his wife Jennifer, their son Alex, and their daughter Abigail, who I believe are all here today. Ken is a native of New Mexico. He grew up in the beautiful Pewaukee Valley in northern New Mexico. He was the first in his family to graduate from college, and with the help of scholarships and grants, he received his undergraduate and law degrees from the University of New Mexico, a school I might add that I'm also proud to call my alma mater. After law school, Ken served as a law clerk to New Mexico Supreme Court Justice Joseph Baca. Then he went to work as a legislative assistant for our esteemed former colleague, Senator Jeff Bingaman. Ken began his career as a federal prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of New Mexico in 1999. He has prosecuted a wide range of federal offenses, including immigration, narcotics, and violent crime cases. He also holds the rank of Major as a judge advocate in the U.S. Army Reserve, which he joined in September 2001. During his service, he has provided critical legal assistance to hundreds of active and retired soldiers and spouses, both here and overseas. In 2008, he was called to active duty as a part of Operation Enduring Freedom, where he was away from his family for many months. He was stationed at Fort Bragg and served as a senior trial counsel in the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate. Today, Ken is the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Mexico, after being unanimously confirmed for that position by the U.S. Senate in 2010. He oversees a broad array of criminal and civil cases and has earned great respect in our legal community in New Mexico. I'd also like to note that Ken has made Indian country prosecutions a priority in the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's an area he knows well, having grown up in the backyards of Nambe, Pewaukee, and San Ildefonso Pueblos. During his tenure, he has made a real difference in prosecuting cases of violence against women and children. In his current capacity, Ken serves on the Attorney General's Advisory Committee, Subcommittee on Native American Issues, and Southwest Border and Immigration Issues. He's also a member of the Attorney General's Advisory Committee's Environmental and Natural Resources Working Group. He's a member of the New Mexico Hispanic Bar Association, and if confirmed, he'll join only 56 other Hispanic active district court judges, less than 10% of the country's 677 district court judgeships. Ken Gonzales is an exceptionally well-qualified nominee. He has shown a reverence for and dedication to the law throughout his career in both civilian and military positions. He has exhibited great expertise, commitment, and depth of judgment. I urge his confirmation. While he will be missed as our U.S. Attorney, I know that he will serve New Mexico well on the federal bench. And I would just ask, Madam Chair, if I could be excused. The Foreign Relations is in the middle of a business meeting, and I'm going to try to make it back because they apparently need my vote. But I'm going to leave you in the very good hands of Senator Heinrich, and with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Senator Heinrich.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Ranking Member Lee, for allowing me to speak briefly in favor of the nomination of Ken Gonzales to serve as a judge on the U.S. District Court for the District of New Mexico. I would also like to thank the leadership of this committee from both sides of the aisle, Senator Leahy and Senator Grassley, for granting Mr. Gonzales a hearing. And I want to echo the remarks that you heard from Senator Tom Udall, our senior senator, about Mr. Gonzales. I think that Senator Udall and former Senator Jeff Bingaman did a great job of providing the President with a list of very well-qualified candidates to fill a vacancy on the federal bench in New Mexico, but Mr. Gonzales is truly a standout. I'm pleased that the President has nominated him to fill this vacancy, and I'm pleased to be here today to support him. As we've already heard, Mr. Gonzales has a very long and distinguished record of public service, including service in our military. Most recently, Mr. Gonzales has served as the U.S. Attorney for New Mexico, as you heard from Senator Udall, a position that he was confirmed to by the Senate in April of 2010. His elevation to lead that office follows more than a decade of service there as an assistant U.S. Attorney. I'd like to focus some attention on the work that Ken has done as the head of that office. I think that his efforts there demonstrate not only his character and his intellect, but the dedication that he has to serving his home state and making it a better place for all of our residents. As U.S. Attorney for New Mexico, Ken has taken an aggressive approach to combating drug trafficking and the related gun and gang violence that can have a particularly devastating impact on border states like New Mexico. For example, under his leadership, the U.S. Attorney's Office for New Mexico has partnered with state and local law enforcement officials to identify the worst of the worst offenders in their communities so that they can be brought into the federal criminal justice system and face more substantial punishments. In response to concerns about a particularly alarming drug and gun violence problem in Chavez County, particularly in the city of Roswell, Ken helped develop and implement a strategy that engaged community stakeholders to combat the problem. As a result, more than 80 individuals have been arrested and charged by state and federal prosecutors. New Mexico also has significant portions of sovereign Native American lands within its borders, for which the U.S. Attorney has responsibility to prosecute criminal activity. Ken has taken the initiative to reorganize and focus the U.S. Attorney's resources to more effectively combat the higher-than-average rates of violent crime, sexual assault, and sexual abuse that plague Indian Country. This includes creating the first Indian Country crime section within a U.S. Attorney office. This section includes a team of lawyers responsible for pursuing felony offenses in Indian Country. Under his leadership, the office is also collaborating with tribal prosecutors to investigate and prosecute domestic violence occurring in more than 20 pueblos and tribes located within New Mexico. In addition to his qualifications as a licensed attorney for more than 20 years, Ken is a longtime New Mexican. He was born and raised there, and all of his accomplishments make me believe that he is more than qualified to serve on the federal bench in New Mexico. But it is his career-long determination and dedication to serving the people of New Mexico that makes me believe that he will make an outstanding addition to the federal bench. I strongly support his nomination, and I urge this panel to act quickly to move his nomination to the full Senate for a vote. And again, thank you, Senator Hirono and Ranking Member Lee, for this opportunity to speak today.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you very much, Ranking Member Lee, for holding this hearing and inviting me to be here. I don't have an opening statement. I would like to introduce, though, my family, if I may. With me here is my wife of 25 years, Jennifer Gonzales. My being here has just as much to do with Jennifer as it does with anything I've done. And in addition, I have my son, Alex, who's 15 years old. He's a sophomore in high school. And my daughter, Abigail, who was 8 years old, and she is a second grader. With me also is a good friend of mine who also happens to be my mother-in-law, Anita Poots, and some very good friends who have made it to be here. Dan Elbert and Ann Frankie, who live here in Washington and are very good friends of mine, and I'm so glad that they are here. Virginia White, who after 30 years of service to Senator Bingaman and to the people of New Mexico, we are proud of her, and she has as much of a legacy as anybody in New Mexico, and I'm so glad that she is here, as well as Rhonda Oy Brockner, who lives here as well, and I'm very glad that she is here. And Anna Marie Baca, who is here as well, and I'm very glad she is here. And of course, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank Senator Udall and Senator Heinrich for their very kind words when they introduced me today, and for their strong support of me in this process. I'd like to thank, of course, the President for the nomination and the confidence that he has placed in me, both for the nomination to be U.S. Attorney and then now to be District Judge. I'd certainly like to thank Senator Bingaman, who just retired just very recently, for the strong support that he has shown me over the years, and including in the support for this nomination. Madam Chair, there are a lot of people that are not here that I'd like to acknowledge as well, and I believe are watching on the webcast. First and foremost, my parents. My father, Santiago Gonzales, Jr., 82 years old, Korean War veteran and my personal hero. My mother, Florence Gonzales, who is defined, I think, by how she has put her children and grandchildren ahead of herself in every way. My siblings, my 6 siblings, Donna, her husband Clint, Monica, her husband John, Dennis, my brother, and his wife Charlene, my sister Carol and her husband Kurt, my sister Katrina, her husband Ward, and my brother Steve and his wife Mandy, as well as my 22 nieces and nephews. I'd also like to acknowledge, Madam Chair, the man who set me on this course years ago by giving me the first job I had out of law school, and that was the now retired Chief Justice of the New Mexico Supreme Court, Joseph Baca. I very much appreciate everything that he did for me. I learned so much from him, and it was by his example that I really saw how honorable the judges and the judiciary are in our system of government. He and his wife, Dorothy, could not be here, but they are represented by their daughter, Anna Marie Blarkham, and I'm very glad that she is here. And lastly, Madam, I'd like to acknowledge all the outstanding men and women in the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of New Mexico, as well as my colleagues in the United States Army. Thank you very much.